The 1967 United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by 1967 it reflected a critical transitional era in U.S. coinage history, as the nation had just moved away from silver coinage due to rising bullion prices and widespread coin hoarding, making the 1967 quarter a copper-nickel-clad coin rather than the earlier 90% silver issues minted prior to 1965. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of George Washington designed by sculptor John Flanagan, with the word Liberty prominently inscribed above Washington's head, the national motto "In God We Trust" placed to the left near the base of the neck truncation, and the date 1967 positioned below, all struck in sharp relief on higher-grade uncirculated examples where mint luster remains intact and surface wear is absent. The reverse displays a heraldic bald eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness, framed by olive branches representing peace, with the inscriptions "United States of America" arched above, "E Pluribus Unum" appearing above the eagle's head, and "quarter dollar" below. In an uncirculated condition, the feather details, arrow shafts, and leaf veins appear crisp and well-defined. Notably, no mint mark appears on the 1967 quarter because from 1965 through 1967 the U.S. Mint intentionally removed mint marks from all circulating coinage as an anti-hoarding measure during the national coin shortage, meaning all 1967 quarters were produced primarily at the Philadelphia Mint despite some production occurring at other facilities under centralized accounting. The coin has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a reeded edge, and a standard weight of 5.67 grams, composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a distinctive silvery appearance without intrinsic precious metal value. In terms of mintage, over 1.5 billion 1967 quarters were struck, making the date extremely common in circulated grades, but true uncirculated examples, especially those graded MS-65 or higher by professional services, are far scarcer due to heavy use in commerce and the relatively low saving rates of clad coins at the time. Uncirculated coins exhibit original mint luster that ranges from satiny to slightly brilliant, with no flattening on Washington's hair above the ear or on the eagle's breast feathers, and may show minimal contact marks from mint handling, which are carefully evaluated during grading. While a typical circulated 1967 quarter is worth only face value, an uncirculated specimen can range from a few dollars in lower mint state grades to significantly higher premiums for superb gems, especially those with exceptional strike quality, strong luster, and minimal abrasions, and coins certified at MS-67 or above can command substantially higher prices due to condition rarity. The 1967 quarter also holds historical importance as part of the first generation of clad U.S. coinage, representing a fundamental shift in American monetary policy and public perception of coinage, and it serves as a tangible artifact of the economic pressures of the 1960s, when rising silver prices forced the government to abandon precious metals in everyday coins. Collectors today often seek the 1967 quarter for typesets, clad-era collections, or high-grade registry sets. And although it lacks the intrinsic metal value of earlier issues, its significance lies in its historical context, massive production, and the challenge of finding pristine uncirculated examples more than half a century later, making the 1967 Washington quarter a deceptively common yet historically meaningful coin in United States numismatics. Next top. The 1977 United States quarter dollar is part of the Washington quarter series that began in 1932 and continued uninterrupted through the late 20th century, and this particular issue was struck during the post-silver, modern clad coinage era of the United States when quarters were produced for everyday circulation rather than precious metal content, with the D Mint mark indicating production at the Denver Mint, which was one of the primary facilities responsible for meeting the nation's high demand for circulating coinage during the 1970s. The obverse of the coin features the iconic left-facing portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan, with the word Liberty boldly inscribed across the top rim, the national motto "In God We Trust" positioned to the left of Washington's neck, and the date 1977 centered at the bottom, all of which appear sharply struck on uncirculated examples with no word to Washington's hair curls, cheekbone, or jawline. The reverse depicts The heraldic bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched atop a bundle of arrows symbolizing military readiness, with olive branches beneath representing peace, and surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America along the upper rim, E pluribus unum above the eagle's head, and $quarter at the bottom. And in high-grade uncirculated coins the feather details on the eagle's breast and wings remain fully intact and clearly separated. The 1977 D quarter has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, a reeded edge, and a standard weight of 5.67 grams, and is composed of a copper-nickel clad structure consisting of outer layers made of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a solid copper core, giving it a silvery appearance without intrinsic bullion value. During 1977, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters, resulting in a very large overall mintage that makes the coin common in circulated condition, but genuinely uncirculated examples, particularly those that retain original mint luster without dulling, discoloration, or heavy contact marks, are much less common due to extensive circulation and the lack of widespread saving of clad coins at the time. In uncirculated condition, the 1977 D quarter displays full cartwheel luster, clean fields, and sharp rim definition, though it may still exhibit minor bag marks from contact with other coins during storage and transport, which are carefully evaluated when determining mint state grades. While most circulated 1977 D quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, uncirculated specimens can carry a modest premium depending on grade, eye appeal, and strike quality, with higher grade examples such as MS-65 and above being increasingly scarce and desirable to collectors, and coins graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading services can command significantly higher prices due to condition rarity rather than date rarity. Historically, the 1977 D quarter represents the mature phase of the Washington quarter design before its later modifications and commemorative reverses introduced in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and it reflects the economic realities of late 1970s America, including inflation, high production volumes, and the normalization of clad coinage. Collectors today often include the 1977 D quarter in date and mint sets, clad era collections, and high-grade registry sets, and although it lacks the silver content and rarity of earlier Washington quarters, its significance lies in its role as a workhorse coin of everyday American commerce, its classic and enduring design elements bearing the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, and the challenge of locating truly pristine uncirculated examples more than 4 decades after its original release. Next top. The United States of America $quarter dated 1987 with the P mint mark is a standard Washington quarter from the late 20th century, representing the everyday circulating coinage of the United States before the famous state quarters program began, yet it carries notable historical, technical, and collectible importance when preserved in mint condition. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P mint mark located on the obverse near the motto In God We Trust, a practice that became regular for Philadelphia beginning in 1980, making earlier Philadelphia coins without mint marks and later ones with mint marks an interesting transition for collectors. The obverse design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, features a left-facing bust of George Washington, based on a 1786 sculpture by Jean-Antoine Houdon, and includes the inscriptions Liberty along the upper rim, In God We Trust to the left of Washington's portrait, and the date 1987 to the right. The reverse presents the long-standing heraldic American bald eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing the nation's readiness for both defense and peace, with United States of America arched above, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, positioned above the eagle, and $quarter along the bottom edge. The 1987 P quarter is made of copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 5.67 grams, measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and featuring a reeded edge, with no intrinsic silver value, unlike pre-1965 quarters. What makes the 1987 issue especially significant in U.S. numismatic history is that the United States Mint did not produce or sell any proof coin sets for that year, meaning collectors could only obtain high-quality examples through official uncirculated mint sets or direct circulation, increasing demand for well-preserved specimens. Although the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters in 1987, the vast majority entered circulation and suffered contact marks, wear, and luster loss, so a truly uncirculated example, often misspelled or mispronounced as untilled, will show full mint luster, sharp details in Washington's hair and facial features, no smoothing on high points, and crisp feather definition on the eagle. Coins graded MS-63 to MS-64 are relatively obtainable, but examples graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher become progressively scarcer and more valuable, especially when professionally certified by major grading services, as bag marks and dull strikes are common for this era. In circulated condition, a 1987 P quarter is worth only face value, but in uncirculated condition it can be worth several dollars, and premium gem examples can command significantly higher prices depending on eye appeal and market demand. Historically, this coin belongs to the final decades of the classic Washington quarter design, which had remained largely unchanged since 1932 and would later give way to the 50-state quarters program in 1999, making the 1987 P quarter part of the closing chapter of traditional U.S. circulating coinage. Collectors appreciate this coin not for rarity and mintage numbers, but for condition rarity, historical placement, and completeness of date and mint sets, particularly because of the missing proof issue that year. Proper storage, such as in inert holders, mylar flips, or encapsulated slabs, is essential to preserve its uncirculated status, as exposure to air, moisture, oils, or friction can quickly diminish its original mint finish. In summary, an uncirculated 1987 P United States quarter dollar bearing the national mottos Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum is a copper-nickel-clad coin that reflects American economic life of the 1980s, the enduring symbolism of U.S. coin design, and a subtle but respected collectible within modern American numismatics when found in true mint state condition. Next top. The 1988 D United States Washington quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by 1988 the design had become one of the most recognizable coins in American circulation, with the obverse featuring a left-facing bust of George Washington based on sculptor John Flanagan's interpretation of a Jean-Antoine Houdon sculpture, surrounded by the inscriptions Liberty at the top, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1988 at the bottom, while the D mint mark below the date indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which primarily produced coins for general circulation rather than proof or special collector issues. The reverse displays the classic American heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows symbolizing strength and readiness, flanked by olive branches representing peace, with United States of America and E Pluribus Unum above. The eagle and quarter dollar below, all elements deeply rooted in U.S. national symbolism. The 1988 D quarter is composed of a copper-nickel-clad structure introduced in 1965, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a reeded edge, and while it has no intrinsic silver value, its worth comes from condition, originality, and collector demand. In uncirculated, often mistakenly called untilled condition, meaning the coin has never been used in commerce and retains its original mint luster with no wear on Washington's hair, cheek, or the eagle's breast feathers. The 1988 D quarter is more desirable than circulated examples, though it is still considered relatively common due to the high mintage of over 546 million coins, which keeps most examples affordable for collectors. Typical uncirculated pieces may range in value from face value to a few dollars, while exceptionally well-preserved coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services can command higher premiums, especially if they show strong luster, sharp strikes, and minimal bag marks, and rare errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or minting anomalies can significantly increase value. Historically, the 1988 D quarter reflects a late Cold War America just before major global and domestic changes of the 1990s, making it a small but tangible artifact of its era, and, while it may not be rare, it holds importance for collectors completing date and mint sets of Washington quarters, teaching beginners about U.S. coinage, and preserving a snapshot of American monetary history, civic identity, and national mottos embodied in the enduring phrases Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, which together expressed the ideals of freedom, faith, and unity that the coin was designed to represent.